Now we face the enemy for real. Battle Royale. Mark a drop point for your team. You'll lead them in. Avoid the gas. Get to the safe zone. Primary objective is to eliminate all targets. Enemy personal radar in the air. return to the front line. You lose, your fight is over. Earn your way out. Well done. Stand by for redeployment. Check your gear and weapons. We go soon. Preparation is done. Now you deploy to the war zone. Battle Royale. All right, soldier. Mark a drop point for your team. Be advised, gas is closing in. Proceed to the safe zone. Targets are up. Get to work. You're in the Gulag now. Fight to earn redeployment. A fight has started. You can taunt the enemy while you're waiting. Words are effective. Rocks work better. Here we go. Get ready to fight. You're next. You win this fight and you return to the front line. But if you lose, you're done. Earn your way out. Enemy personal radar in the air. Enemy UAV overhead. Drop back on the way. Gas is inbound. Marking new safe zone. Losing ground. Bounty target is up. Take him down. got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated. Bounty target is down. Well done. Learn from the loss. Failure is a wise teacher.
News.com. Download Fox News Channel's The 5 podcast for free.
And now, on to the next big segment.
Ooh, here we go.
Should women be drafted? Should they?
Are you asking?
Yes, I'm asking you.
I mean, I don't think anyone should be drafted. But, I mean,
They can't-
if there's going to be a draft, I mean, I would fight if there was a good enough reason and I
Well-
was pulled in, but...
We can talk about the draft in general first.
Yeah, I guess.
But let me-
that's
let
where
me-
my mind goes.
Let me get the news real quick.
Yeah, read
From
it.
Politico. Women should be eligible for the draft. Commission recommends. The 11-member commissioner's report was briefed to the Pentagon on Monday and will be presented to the White House and congressional staffers Tuesday.
Oh my gosh.
They say, quote,
This is from today.
yes, today. This is a necessary and fair step making it possible to draw on the talent of a unified nation in the time of national emergency, the commissioners wrote in the 255-page report obtained by Politico. The report does not require action, but its recommendations pave the way for lawmakers to move to include women in the draft more than 100 years after Congress passed the Military Selective Service Act in 1917. While no one has been conscripted into the U.S. military in more than 40 years, the act requires all American men to register for the draft when they turn 18. Men who fail to register can be fined, imprisoned, and denied services such as federal student loans. The Pentagon spokesperson did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So they say this comes 5 years after Defense Secretary Ash Carter formally rescinded the Pentagon's combat exclusion policy that had prevented women from serving in combat roles. Today, more than 224,000 women serve on active duty, and at least 30 women completed the U.S. Army Ranger School as of August 2019, according to the report. My first question is, did they change the rules to make it easier for the women to pass?
They did in the Marines.
Right.
I do know that.
So we're lowering our standard to put more people in combat.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Me either.
If they're going to be a Marine, my brother's a Marine. If you're going to be a Marine, you got to go through the training, and you got to prove that
best,
you
the
can
best,
be a
the
Marine.
best.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed
Yep.
to be, aren't they?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, I've been in situations with untrained people, and
Yeah.
I feel bad for some of these Marines.
That
Like-
they have to be put with someone that didn't go through the training that they did.
I want to
Is that
know,
what do you mean?
when I'm in so I've reported in a few, major urban conflict areas. Like I was in Egypt during the revolution.
Oh, okay.
And I want to know the people who are with me know how to take care of themselves. It's not about me being more prepared than you, being more prepared than me. It's about both of us understanding what's going on. Because I've been sent to places in conflict where the people with me had no idea how to respond to active gunfire or anything like that, and then I have to stick my neck out and carry them. It's like, dude, if a fire breaks out, can you get out of the building? Can you escape? Do you have the capabilities? Because I'll tell you what. Imagine you can walk and run like a regular person.
Yeah.
Let's say they're sending you into a mission, a burning building,
Okay.
and the people with you also can walk and run like regular people. If they put you in with somebody who's in a wheelchair, you'd be like, listen, man, I got no beef against you for being in the wheelchair, but now I literally have to pick you up and carry you, and it risks both of our lives.
Yeah.
We have standards for a reason. If you're going to go into a burning building, you got to be able to walk and run up and down stairs like normal, right?
That makes sense, yeah.
I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. So when I see stories like this, and so I don't have it pulled up, you're saying that they lowered the standards for women.
Yeah, I think this is something that it happened a while ago.
So then what? I'm gonna.
What's in Daegu? Yeah. But that's where all most of your cases are. To the city?
What now? What do you want? I'm trying to sleep again.
Yeah.
Why? Dang. I give you everything.
You gave me everything. You want coffee?
Yeah.
You want milky?
Look like you're being really nice.
Want sugar?
Don't be nice to me, no.
You want sugar? You want milky?
Dang. Dang, are you sick? You're not sick. What do you want? What's wrong with you these days?
I'm gonna beat you up.
Why? I don't have Asshole.
That was a huggy.
No, you're an asshole.
That was a hug.
And then go out and make money.
Okay.
Huh?
On my way.
Virginia,
Yeah?
take the kratom. Get a shower.
Okay.
been 2 years.
Boy, you're such a good hider this time. What did you do so different? You normally just like put it and like just super easy.
Did
Lately it's been too much. Just like a little spot or something. what I don't like? Is that you're so confident. Just sitting out here.
You're never gonna find it.
You're just so confident. Like,
You're never gonna find it.
you sitting right here.
Hey, why don't you study about your denture?
Confident.
Huh?
I already know how to make it.
No, you don't. What's wrong with you? You only have 2.5. You only have 2.5. You only have 2.5 days.
I know. And I'm only doing that half today. Whenever I find it. So can I get my halfie?
Why?
Daffy.
Why? Why?
So you can have my Daffy.
It's only 1 o'clock.
I know. Daffy, Daffy.
Huh? How about you get 6?
No, I want my halfie Daffy. I don't
Why?
want because I don't want him later tonight.
Oh, bullshit.
I don't. Or what did I?
Hey?
What's so funny, Daffy, Daffy?
Don't be nice to me.
Daffy, Daffy.
Don't be nice to me. Ah,
It looks like them
stupid.
fucking. It looks like the Section 8 people are getting fucking money after all.
You think so?
Yeah, it looks that way. They changed the bill.
So everybody gets it?
Looking that way. Just what the fuck? They get their rent paid for. They get their utilities. They get everything paid for. And they're gonna get money. Come on.
After all, they get money, huh?
That's what I mean. For them, it's gonna be like, yeah, great, good about it. When you think about it, they get everything they're only gonna get plus. Daffy, Daffy. Wanna play hot cold? Yeah. Going to the bathroom and looking.
You were never gonna find it then.
Oh, here it is. See, I knew it. In the bathroom, like I said. Told you. Haha. I'm joking, it was in your room.
I'll give it 6.
No, Are you mad at the young people that are going to the beach making this longer for us? You know, when people go out to the beach, they spread it longer and we're going to be in lockdown longer. Happy, happy.
I don't have money. Let me know. What's wrong with you?
Because you're supposed to do something like this and go behind you.
What do you want?
was a day. And meaning in another way.
Give me a 3. What do you want? Why do you want it?
So I can have my own, 'cause
You're not sick, aren't you? Why?
Cause I
Getting sick?
Yes,
To be here. Can you go?
that's right.
Can you cut your nail? That's so disgusting.
Oh, nice. I'll cut my nails so I can
Uh-huh.
Ready, break.
You're like a bad kid. Cut your nails and then take a bath.
Okay, I'm halfway there.
And take 20 of that.
Come on, Laffy Taffy.
Take 5 more.
I'll take 5 more.
Cut your nail first.
No.
Why?
I will as soon as I get Laffy Taffy happy.
You're sick.
You're sick.
Did you cut nail?
I'm doing it, bro.
Jesus Christ. $1,000. If anybody
Boy, we're about to
would
be
be
working.
nicer than you to me.
Come on.
Wow, you treat me like a shit.
You don't, bro.
You don't?
No. And I'm about to be working here in like a week. As
What?
soon as my teeth come in. There's a lot of places that need people that are hiring like motherfucker right now. You know it. And I'm about to be back to work. Everybody's about to be back to work. We're about to get that check and we're just gonna use it to move. And they're giving you extra money, so you're not just gonna make what you thought you were gonna make. You're gonna get your full pay.
Extra? Wow.
Because they upped the bill, up the unemployment insurance. Remember that I told you that right now it's fucked up, and they're paying people $24 an hour. Well, that's wrong. They're gonna fix that, but it's still gonna be if you make, you know. Before it used to be if you made $600 a week, they give you $300. Now they're saying, well, if you make $600, we're gonna give you $600, whatever you make.
What?
Yeah.
That's why nothing is happening to my thing? I'm supposed to get mail or something, right?
You're going to. Who cares? It's getting better as it goes. You gotta wait for them to do that thing. But by the time it's all set up, by the time you're ready to go, you're gonna get whatever, you know, $1,000 a month, a week. Yeah, they're hooking it up. I told you it was gonna happen. But right now they give them too much. So funny.
Take your pill.
Huffy Tuffy.
5 more. I have to buy more presents.
Yummy.
How much was it? $60 the bottle?
That's for the big one. Oh my God.
You have your stuffed pepper, you gotta eat it.
Dude who licked stuff at Walmart is arrested.
So stupid.
So gross. I hate them. They're bad fucking look. Yeah, wanna listen to the bill?
Nope.
No?
I don't care.
Ooh, but Porter's Mansion. Man, them pills do not go down easy. They always get stuck in my throat. Britney Spears went crazy.
Okay.
Well, she's calling for everybody just to get money every week for nothing.
So I'm just going to tell you right up front, you're going to want to watch this whole video. Because I know that most of you watching this are really, really, really going to appreciate the outcome. It's what you've been waiting for. I don't want to build it up too much, but I promise you, watch to the end. You're not going to regret it. So this weekend, I was really trying to take the weekend off. I needed it, man. I was just exhausted from coronavirus all the time. I was just losing my mind. So all day Saturday, I sat around. I watched lots of crappy TV. I knitted like all day. It was fantastic. Sunday, I had to do a little bit of work. I had some stuff to do. I also had to talk to my coach. And finally, I kind of started tuning back into the news on Sunday afternoon. And what do I find? The Democrats shooting themselves in the foot by skewering this stimulus bill that could help so many people. Could it not even just like financially, which is absolutely important, but just even putting their minds at ease that their government can function in times of crisis and that they can get it together when it really matters. And I thought they were going to make it. I really did. I thought they were going to make it. And then Nancy Pelosi swoops in like a demon and destroys the whole thing. And I just thought, you know what? If they do this, if they really have the gall to do this to the American people, they get exactly what they deserve in November. I cannot wait to watch what happens when these people experience the ramifications of what they're doing now. And listen, this is no surprise to anyone. Article from National Review today. Democratic rep told colleagues coronavirus bill is tremendous opportunity to restructure things to fit our vision. Excuse me? I may be a bit naive, but I thought that the coronavirus stimulus package was to help the American people as they're going through a crisis, to help them pay rent, to help them pay their mortgage, to help them feed their kids, to help them stay in the homes that they're in. That's what I thought that this was about, not restructuring things to fit the Democratic vision for what America should be. So let's just take a look. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi worked to scooper, I don't even know what scooper is, but scooper the phase 3 coronavirus relief package on Sunday after Majority Whip James Clyburn told caucus members last week that the bill was a tremendous opportunity to restructure things to fit our vision. Clyburn's comments came on a Thursday call, featuring more than 200 House Democrats, during which the members laid out a list of provisions they wanted included in the Senate's $1 trillion package. Republicans have said that Democrats have repeatedly demanded increased bargaining powers for unions as well as environmental regulations for airlines and more wind and solar tax credits. And we're going to talk about some of the things the Democrats want in this bill in a second. After Pelosi flew into Washington, D.C. over the weekend to add demands to negotiations, a move that some Republicans have cited as the reason why the procedural vote to fast-track the legislation fell by a party line vote on Sunday night. Speaking after the vote, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell slammed Democrats for playing politics in a time of crisis. All of a sudden, the Democratic leader and the Speaker of the House shows up, and we're back to square one. We're fiddling here, fiddling with the emotions of the American people, fiddling with the markets, fiddling with our health care. The American people expect us to act tomorrow. This is what he said last night. Now listen, I am not a fan of Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell could actually be Satan, so far as I'm concerned. I've joked in the past about thinking Ben Shapiro was Satan and then discovering he wasn't. That's fine, well and good. Mitch McConnell could actually be Satan, though. I don't feel like I'm exaggerating there. However, when the man is right, you have to give credit where credit is due, and he is 100% correct in this. The American people are expecting action, and they wanted to see. I think that if nothing else, the promise of that stimulus check, the little tiny bit of peace of mind that it could bring them, is so important. That is what leadership looks like. I have to tell you, I have been incredibly impressed with how Donald Trump has handled these daily press briefings. I'm actually going to do a separate video on what components of leadership Donald Trump is utilizing these processes, because I do a lot of leadership training. I watch a lot of leaders evolve. He is absolutely evolved in this. He stepped up to the plate. He is being, words I never thought would come out of my mouth, the leader that the country needs in this crisis. And what do the Democrats do? They swoop in and say, no, here's what we want for our list of demands for this Senate stimulus package. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what is in Nancy Pelosi's bill that she is making the American people wait for their much-needed stimulus checks for. According to a source close to the process on Capitol Hill, in order to move forward with any kind of relief package, Pelosi and her far-left Democrat caucus will demand the following be included. Publication of corporate pay statistics by race and race statistics for all corporate boards. That doesn't sound like an emergency. A bill out on the all current data at the Postal Service. That doesn't sound like an emergency. Required early voting, not an emergency. Required same-day voter registration, not an emergency. Provisions on official time for union collective bargaining. I'm sorry, what?
Butterfinger?
That's my Butterfinger. My Butterfinger.
What? What jobs are people going to right now where they need union collective bargaining? Wait, what? Full offset of airline emissions by 2025, not an emergency. Publication and reporting of greenhouse gas statistics for individual flights. Is anyone taking flights right now? Is anyone getting on airplanes? Very few people. Retirement plans for community newspaper employees. Come on. Federal $15 minimum wage. Well, God knows that's going to really help people that are out of a job. Permanent paid leave? Are you kidding me? And listen, Town Hall is a little bit of like a right-wing website, right? But it was just the best article I could find on kind of short notice. They've gone through the bill that Pelosi's proposing, which, by the way, that bill is like 1,400 pages. The Democrats' bill, their answer to this stimulus package is 1,400 pages. Do you think they just wrote that overnight? I don't think they did. They've obviously been working on this for a while. So you can actually go through, see where they're enumerating things in the actual text of the bill. And listen, let's go back over to this one. Oh wait, no, it might be in this one actually. Oh, here it is. So here's some tweets from senators and representatives talking about this. Tom Cotton says that this report is correct. Pelosi and Schumer are willing to risk your life, your job, your retirement savings for a radical left-wing wish list that has nothing to do with the virus. Dan Crenshaw says too, I can confirm this. This is what Democrats torpedoed the rescue package for. This will go down as one of the most cynical, disgusting, malevolent actions in history. Millions are losing jobs while they play these games. Listen. The back and forth political nonsense, the bickering. There is nothing that you can say that will piss me off more than bickering in times like this. This was a time when American people were starting to come together. People were even supporting Trump. I was shocked. Even people that I never thought would support Trump in their lives had said, like, Trump's like getting it together. He's being a leader. He's not attacking Democrats. He's showing up. He's showing he can try to pull people together. I was shocked at how much this was actually helping with this partisan political divide. And then, like genie clockwork, boom! Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer come in and spoil everything with this back and forth political nonsense. So you know what? You all win. You all win. You really do. You win. I'm done. I'm done. I tweeted this earlier, but I think it's worth reiterating on this video. I said I have never voted for someone who is not a Democrat in my life. That streak will end in November. I'm beyond angry about what they're doing. This is not about the well-being of workers. This is taking advantage of a crisis. It is unconscionable. I cannot wait for them to lose. Democrats, congratulations. I'm voting for Donald Trump in November. And I will vote for every single Republican on the ballot over this nonsense. This is so beyond the pale. This is completely unnecessary. So people that have wanted me to say I'm voting for Trump for however many weeks now, you win. And I'm going to tell you, I really did not make up my mind until today. I really didn't. I was kind of waffling back and forth, and for a while I really wanted to remain undecided because I wanted to see who my options were. That was always what I said. I'm not going to make a decision about who I'm going to vote for until I know who my options are. And now I know my options are basically Trump and Biden. Biden has disappeared. Dude can't even figure out how to do a live stream. Listen, I am not great with technology. There was a time in my life when I was, but now I am not. I still know how to make a video. This is not hard. This is really not hard. Biden can't even show up and do that. Has completely disappeared in this time of crisis. Trump is stepping up, actually acting like a leader instead of a mean girl in high school tweeting out insults about people all the time. And the Democrats have their heads so far up there, you know what, that they are just they've completely lost it. They have lost the plot. So, guess what, Republicans? You win. I'm voting for your guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the third time, the Democrats are obstructing the emergency stimulus package, and none of this makes any sense because the Democrats and the Republicans actually agreed upon the bill in the Senate in the early hours of this morning. They had already blocked it twice before. The Democrats actually won in their negotiations and got the Republicans to put many of the things they wanted in this bill, and at 1 a.m., it was celebration. We have an agreement, we will move forward, and many expected Nancy Pelosi to expedite this bill to get it through because the American people are hurting, businesses are shutting down, and our country is facing dire straits. Yet this morning we learned that Nancy Pelosi decided to hold a pro forma session, meaning they were in for just about a minute. It was a formality. They didn't actually do anything. Pelosi says she's not sure how she'll move forward, and they will reconvene tomorrow. Now, I could understand if there were some things in this bill that are potentially bad. Republicans aren't perfect, neither are Democrats, but hold on. Both parties agreed to this. Why is Pelosi obstructing now? Why can't she just go in and pass this bill? They were talking about unanimous consent, meaning if everyone who's there just agrees on it, it could be pushed through very, very quickly. Vox.com, left-wing media, was saying they expected this. And no, it is being stalled. And now we're hearing again that Andrew Cuomo of New York is urging Pelosi to not pass this bill. I don't know what they expect. Beggars can't be choosers. We are already looking at one of the largest stimulus package in the history of this country. What more do they want? It's an emergency. If the Democrats negotiated this and the rest of them can't come together to pass this bill, we are in serious trouble. But I think what we're seeing is the Democrats completely fractured. They don't even know what they're trying to get at this point, and it's holding the rest of us back. All of this is happening at the same time that Donald Trump's approval rating is through the roof. A recent poll from Gallup showed that Trump's approval rating is tied for the highest it's ever been. And on his handling of the global pandemic, 60% approve. He's winning over independents and Democrats. And I can only imagine that people are starting to see through the lies of the media and the Democrats because, lo and behold, trust in Congress is down. The approval rate for Congress is down. And get this, according to a CBS poll, the American people are more trusting of Trump than they are of the media at this point. And what do we see in response? The media is now shutting down Trump's press conferences. One NPR station said, "We will no longer carry it." Many media companies, many media outlets are turning the cameras off before he even finishes. Why? Because when the American people heard what he had to say, most of them agreed with it. And what are the Democrats doing? Fighting and obstructing our emergency relief. I cannot believe. I did a video on this morning where I said, we did it. Congratulations. The Democrats, you got some of the things you wanted, and here we are. I had to read this story several times, confer with some friends. This can't be real, can it? Pelosi is not going to... I can't believe it. I am completely awestruck at the obstruction in Congress. Welcome to politics. At a time when people are desperate, businesses are shutting down, and we are facing one of the biggest threats our country has ever faced. This is the leadership we get. It's no surprise that Trump's approval rating is going up. Let's read the stories. The first one I have from Vox, I'll just go over very quickly to show you at 8:10 a.m. optimism from the left. They thought we were going to be moving forward. You know that Chuck Schumer said the federal government would guarantee 4 months of salary for furloughed workers? 4 months. Yet on Twitter, the progressives are saying it's not enough, we want more. And perhaps that's the reason Pelosi is refusing to hold a vote on this, because she knows that the squad on the far left will reject it and unanimous consent will fail. Before we read this, head over to timcast.com/donate if you would like to support my work. I rely on many of you who give through the various options PayPal, cryptocurrency, or my physical address to help support what I do, especially in times like this. But don't feel pressure to do so. I know everyone's hurting right now. So the best thing you can do is just share this video and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that when I produce videos, you do get notified, because YouTube tends not to share them. But I want to show you this. The Senate has struck a $2 trillion deal on the coronavirus stimulus. Here's what's in it. The massive legislation includes direct payments, an expansion of unemployment insurance, and loans for small businesses. In fact, at the bottom of the story, they say that it's possible they're going to move towards unanimous consent vote, meaning if everyone who's present just says, let's do it, they could expedite the Senate bill. Pelosi didn't do that. Take a look at this tweet. Jake Sherman for Politico says, the House was in this morning at 10 a.m. and 42 seconds, and they were out at 10:02 and 37 seconds. No business of note, no resignations, etc. Back in tomorrow at 11 a.m. I kid you not. Free Beacon reports Pelosi ends House session in less than 2 minutes. Vote on the emergency stimulus is not expected on Wednesday. I didn't believe it when I read it. I really, really didn't believe it. When the progressive Vox.com is saying we think they're going to rush this through, I didn't understand why that would be the case. But now we know. Governor Cuomo says he's lobbying for House members to reject moving the stimulus bill forward without some additional asks. Maybe it's fair to say we shouldn't rush things. Maybe it's fair to say we got to remain calm and not panic. Here's the issue. The Republicans had been negotiating this over the weekend. They skipped their recess. They came together with the Democrats, and then the Democrats rejected the bill. They rejected it a second time. And now, finally, they all agree. So you know what? All I can really ask for, the bill will not be perfect. It will not be perfect. But if both sides can compromise, and if the Democrats holding out won them some bonuses, some of the things they want, fine, please, just get this through, because the American people can't last. We cannot shut down our economy. I am seeing sad posts from people talking about how their family businesses are being shuttered, and they don't know if they can reopen. But this is what we get. Cuomo says, no, I want more money for my state. And if one member rejects this in unanimous consent, Pelosi has no choice. It's done. And perhaps that's why she's holding it up, because they know that Democrats are not unified. It takes but one progressive to say no to this, and unanimous consent would fail. There are also many people who are out, so they don't know if they could pass it. The story from Roll Call says, coronavirus stimulus deal an improvement, but under review. Speaker says bill has moved a great deal closer to America's workers, but shockingly, she says she doesn't know. She doesn't know what she'll do moving forward. Pelosi said Wednesday that a massive stimulus agreement reached by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and key members of the Trump administration shows improvement over a GOP proposal released late last week, but she didn't give a clear sign of approval or commit to a House vote. House Democrats will now review the final provisions and legislative text of the agreement to determine a course of action, she said in the statement. I want to remind you, she has her own. She has her own bill. $2.5 trillion, 1,404 pages. It includes the words diversity 32 times or something like that. It's got student debt forgiveness. It's got climate provisions. None of it seems to matter for the American people. I think I know why she's obstructing. She is truly between a rock and a hard place. The Senate Democrats have agreed this is a compromise. Let's move forward. They won what they wanted to a certain degree. But Pelosi knows, because she was told by another member of the Democratic Party, now is our chance to reshape things in our vision. It's her chance. So if she holds out on this, she's going to force them to give her what she wants, and there's nothing they can do about it. So she won't hold the vote. Why? She's making the rest of us stew. You see, in an op-ed from USA Today, which I covered several times because it's shocking, they said the Republicans are desperate. Now's our chance to push in all of our progressive proposals. So she knows it. She's going to let everyone stew on this, have them freak out. But you know what? I'm not going to stand for it. I'm going to call her out. Roll Call says, Pelosi said the agreement could take negotiators, quote, a long way down the road in meeting the needs of the American people. Thanks to the unity and insistence of Senate and House Democrats, the bill has moved a great deal closer to America's workers, she said. Walking into her Capitol Hill office later in the morning, Pelosi told reporters she's optimistic about the stimulus bill, but won't make a decision about voting until after lawmakers fully review the bill. Democrats in Senate, literally worked on it. What more needs to be reviewed? I'd be willing to say there's going to be bad stuff from the Republicans and the Democrats, and I understand in 2008 things were really, really bad, and we reaped the negative benefit, the negative rewards of not having done it properly. But it's called desperate measures. It's not going to be, candy canes and rainbows. We're gonna see a backlash to a certain degree, but we've got to move quickly. It's very likely that we will suffer consequences from anything we do. Roll call says, quote, "We're reviewing it now. We have our staff and our chairman reviewing the bill. I'm
But were you
optimistic,
hungry?
but we'll see. It's unlikely the House will vote to approve the legislation Wednesday, though. The House came in for a pro forma session at 10 a.m. and quickly adjourned until 11 a.m. Thursday. Had the House wanted to leave open the option of passing the stimulus package today, it likely wouldn't have
You're
recessed
thinking about
subject
that
to the
pizza.
call of the chair. House, what they're basically saying, it's not going to happen. They said they're gonna come. No, it's possible. By the time you watch this, maybe there was an emergency shift. Maybe they decided to come in. By the time of filming this, they say as of mid-morning, negotiators have not released final bill text after reaching a bipartisan agreement in the early morning hours that is designed to help reduce the economic impacts of the pandemic. Shortly after the agreement was announced, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said that he hopes Pelosi will bring the compromise agreement to the House floor and not make any changes that would require it to go back to the Senate before it could be enacted by President Trump, saying, I can't speak for the Speaker. I hope she takes it up and she passes it as is. Said Mnuchin, who has been a key negotiator for Trump's administration the last several days, as the legislative and executive branches work to find an agreement. The Senate is expected to vote on the measure later Wednesday after it comes into session at noon. But here we are. See, Andrew Cuomo is trying to get it rejected, saying the numbers just don't work. It's terrible. And maybe that's fair. He's saying that they're looking at a $15 billion shortfall and would only be getting between 1.3 and 3 billion. Look, I get it, man. Maybe it's not enough. I'm not an expert. I don't know how much money you need in New York, but I know New York is in trouble. So I know we got to do what we can. But this was the Democrats and the Republicans coming together and negotiating now for the second or third time. If we can't get it through now, I don't know what you're going to expect. You think you're going to go in and demand 10 times what was offered and it's going to work? I just don't see it. Now we can see interesting things happening. In the polls, Donald Trump is skyrocketing. Congress is dropping. The media is less trustworthy than Trump. And I think we know why. Because it's not Trump who's obstructing the emergency relief. His team's all over it, even negotiating with Democrats. But even, get this, the Trump administration, Steve Mnuchin, negotiated with the Senate Democrats and said, fine, we'll put in things you want. And Pelosi said, we'll see. So why would the American people blame Trump for this? He's been working very hard. He's been on TV every day. Yet we see this hit ad. This one failed. They say, we don't blame Trump for the pandemic, but he failed in his reaction. And they use out-of-context information once again to smear the president. But in response to this, Tom Bevan of Real Clear Politics said, careful what you wish for. The last 4 polls on approval of Trump's handling of the pandemic, 56%, 49, 55, and 60. This is truly remarkable. Check this out. Axios Harris has Trump positive 12 points. We see Emerson at positive 8 points. ABC News positive 12. The Economist +2. And Gallup +22 from Gallup. The American people overwhelmingly support the president's actions in dealing with the pandemic. And the economy, for that matter, at a time when the economy is in serious crisis. And this is why, in one of the most shocking things ever, take a look at this. In a poll from CBS, who do you trust and not trust to give you accurate information about the virus and what to do during the outbreak? I don't believe it. I still don't believe it, but this is a CBS poll. Donald Trump, 44% trust him and 56% don't trust him. Okay. He doesn't have the majority of the American people trusting him. I get it. But take a look at this. National media. 43% trust the national media and 57% don't trust. Dare I say there are slightly more people that trust Trump and don't trust the media. You know why? Because while we're seeing what is painfully obvious to everyone, the polls are going up even with all of the negative press. Congress approval is ticking slightly down. It's at 21% with everything going on. Trump's approval rating is just up. So what does the media say? I kid you not. The media must stop live broadcasting Trump's dangerous destructive coronavirus briefing, and they're doing it. Business Insider, TV networks cut away from the White House briefing as Trump contradicted his health experts. The media said they weren't and they're stopping now. And they're saying, oh, it's misinformation. Oh, it's all negative, it's all bad. No, I think I know what we're really seeing. We are seeing a media that is desperate to stop. They're desperate to stop the American people from hearing what Trump has to say. Because Trump is talking about potential treatments that may work. He's citing actual stories. And the media comes out and lies. Just the other day, we heard a horrifying story about an older couple who ingested some kind of fish tank anti-parasitic. The media then claimed it was Trump's fault. Trump never said anything about ingesting fish cleaner. He was referencing stories that have been all over the media about two drugs taken together show promising results. When one journalist started going after the president, he pushed back and said, "You're a bad reporter." So what did the media do? They clipped it out of context. The American people can see through it, and we know what's going on right now. Take a look at this from Gallup. President Trump's job approval rating up to 49%. Now, it's not above 50, but it is positive. President Trump may be enjoying a small rally in public support as the nation faces the COVID pandemic. 49% of U.S. adults, up from 44% earlier this month, approve of the job Trump is doing as president as on the whole. Trump also had 49% job approval ratings, the best of his presidency in late January and early February, around the time of the Senate impeachment trial that resulted in his acquittal. Listen, the Senate, while all of this was going nuts, when Trump formed the pandemic, task force, suspended travel from China, the Senate Democrats, the House Democrats were seeking to impeach the president. So is any of this surprising to you? That they're once again flubbing everything that's happening? I'm sorry, man. I was reading through the news. I was hitting people up like this. Tell me this is not true. There's no way that they're obstructing this again. I'm sorry, man. I'm genuinely speechless. I just don't get it. Gallup says independents and Democrats' approval of Trump's performance has increased slightly since earlier this month, tying as the best he has registered to date among each group. The president's approval rating among Republicans was already above 90%. Yeah, go figure. We get it. And remains so, but is not currently his highest on record, 94% in late January. Trump's response to the novel coronavirus pandemic may be behind his higher overall approval rating. Americans give the president generally positive reviews for his handling of the situation, with 60% approving and 38% disapproving, 94% of Republicans, 60% of independents, and 27% of Democrats approving of his response. Slightly more than a quarter of Democrats approving of Trump. That is nuts. The Trump administration has received some criticism for his response to the COVID-19 pandemic, including that the president downplayed the threat at least up until his nationally televised address on March 11th.
But I mean, what we talked about before, if we do the Diamond Head area,
the date
it's
of
easy
this
to get in the
poll
Waikiki,
is,
and
I
it's
believe,
over by the
March 23rd.
college.
This poll,
And
March
we
13th,
can put
22nd,
Korean
sorry, March 13th,
things
22nd.
up so we get
This poll was
Korean
taken
people,
before
clean people,
the Democrats
quiet
and
people.
the Republicans announced a deal on the stimulus package, causing a major market rally. This poll was taken before yesterday's market rally of one of the
we work hard
largest
for a year and save the
rallies
money we
in the
can go buy
history
out.
of the United States. I believe we saw the market.
I do.
I mean, to be honest
Do
with
you?
you, if I get one
about
commercial,
100
I'll
years,
buy a house.
this poll was taken before that. You know what I mean?
Please, God.
I love
Next coming
Coca-Cola.
poll.
Coca-Cola, it's
Shows
great.
the president well above water with a massive
Oh,
approval
I
rating.
can do the denture
At the same
commercial.
time, Nancy
Make sure you
Pelosi
put
can't
your
hold the
dentures
vote
in.
to get the American people the relief they need.
Oh, no.
On Twitter, the progressives are
Ready?
saying it's not enough. They want college forgiveness, debt forgiveness. They want more money. Regular Americans are not on Twitter. They probably don't care. But the reason why Pelosi is probably stalling is because
It's only my one, maybe two.
So yeah, they'll block it. They say on March
But
16th,
I don't wanna.
Trump acknowledged
I
the
don't wanna
seriousness of
live
the
in
situation
Waikiki.
by urging people to avoid gatherings
Yeah,
of
that's
more than
why I
10
read
people
outside it, though.
and have
I
workers
mean, to be honest with you,
possible.
Diamond.
The administration has had daily press
To be honest
conferences
with you,
since then, to update the nation
If we live
on
that
what the
next time,
federal government is
we
doing to
really
address
like
the situation.
that Monday night.
Two aspects of Trump's latest approval rating
Lewis.
suggest a
You know
presidential
what I mean?
approval
I mean, come
rally
on, it's
effect.
not
Well, we
The
getting
rating
old
shows a
then.
fairly
You
sudden
think we
increase.
still
Look,
like
we
it?
don't go out and
Increase is
party
seen
all
among
night
both
like
independents
everybody
and
else. We go there and
Democrats,
eat.
both highly unusual for
You know
Trump
what I
in
mean?
particular. Historically,
And
political
love
job
not
approval
one
has
baby
increased when the
too.
nation is under threat. Every president, from
But
Franklin
not,
Roosevelt
we're
to George
looking
W.
at
Bush,
places
saw
that
their
are
approval
$1 million
rating surge at
houses.
least 10 points
I found
after a
over there.
significant national event of this kind.
That's what we're looking at.
During these
They're
rallies,
$800,000 that
independents and
house.
supporters of the opposing party to the
Really?
president
Yeah.
typically show heightened
So we can
support
rent
for the
it
commander in
out?
chief.
Yeah.
Significant rally
was
effects
it-
appear
wasn't
to be
even
a relic
legal?
of the past.
Yeah,
as
you're allowed to
political
rent it.
polarization in presidential approval
You actually,
ratings reached new
you
levels.
actually, whatchamacallit,
Presidential
that's part
approval
of your
ratings today
income.
are
When
characterized
you go
by
to
consistent,
apply for a
exceedingly
loan,
low
you say,
approval
oh, I'm
ratings
also going to
from
rent out the house
opponents
and
of the
get
president's
$1,500
party.
a month.
As a result, neither Obama nor Trump saw rally effects as big as those of their predecessors,
Some
because
people,
their usual opponents were reluctant
they
to
fix a
approve of
house
them,
and they rent out
regardless
a
of
room
what was
for
happening
like
in the
6
country.
people.
What they're
My
basically
college
telling
friend.
you right now is that
Right, but I
the
don't, I
orange
mean,
man is
That's
bad,
crazy, isn't
and
it?
because the orange man is
we
bad,
could
they
do,
must
if
reject
the room's big enough, you
everything
could
he
do
says,
two
no matter
people.
what. But something
Like
interesting
bunk
has
bed.
happened.
Yeah, but
You
that's
see, when
it,
Trump
though.
came out
Yeah.
and said
I don't
that
want-
he was going to shut down travel from China
I
and
want-
he was forming his
I
task
don't want
force,
dormitory.
we saw the media
Oh.
go nuts.
I mean, if we're
This
renting out
was
the
not a big
Chinese,
deal,
then
the
you can
flu
do
was
6
worse. And then Trump started saying the flu was worse, so the media did a 180 and started dragging the
Yeah,
president.
there should be no
The
more than
orange man
2 or
must
3
always
people in
be
a
bad,
room.
but at a certain point, people
You
seem
put more
to
than
realize,
that,
and I
it's
think it's because
disgusting.
Trump has been holding daily press briefings. He's
I'm falling in love with my one baby too. Baby toot 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 toot. Mommy toot 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 toot. Daddy toot 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 toot.
Mexico, home to some of Earth's most advanced, mysterious, and violent ancient civilizations. Archaeologists and historians continue to uncover treasures buried for centuries in the jungles and the deserts of Mesoamerica. The Olmecs, one of the earliest to occupy the region, left behind giant stone heads, whose features resemble races from the African continent. The Mayans, whose pyramids and architecture rival the monuments of Egypt, the Middle East, India, and the Orient, developed a form of picture writing and ways of
I mean, to be
recording
honest,
events on
a couple
stone.
commercials and we can
And the
buy houses
Aztecs,
there.
who, like the pre-Columbian
I don't know about buying
civilizations
houses.
that
I mean, if we,
preceded them,
I mean,
had a religion that relied on natural forces.
I mean, to be honest, that
Yeah, please buy me a
tremendous
house.
temples, carved monumental
To be honest,
structures, and complex
I don't think
sculptures,
Palisades is that bad of a deal.
as well as creating calendars
I tried
and
to look it up,
timekeeping
but there's no
systems.
Palisade.
These are but
How
a
much
few
was it?
examples of the
They're
sculpture,
$500,000.
artwork, and writings
300,000.
that survived the conquest and pillaging of these
700K?
great cultures
Yeah.
by the Spanish in the 1500s. Historians today agree that humans arrived in the Americas
What, on
and
Zillow?
did not evolve
They're there.
What they don't agree on is when
Baby
and
house.
how they arrived. Some believe that the first inhabitants of Mexico were descendants of Siberian immigrants who crossed the Bering Straits land bridge to North America. Others say they might have sailed or canoed across the Pacific and even might have been one of the lost tribes of Israel. There are even theories that they were the survivors of the lost continents of Atlantis or Lemuria. The noted American psychic Hector Casey reported this as a fact in numerous readings given in the early 20th century. Recently, some researchers like Eric von Daniken speculate that ancient astronauts from outer space arrived thousands of years ago to populate the Earth, or to breed and intermingle with the primitive human cultures they found there. They point to a number of mysterious artifacts that they claim supports their theories. Skeptics say that there are more rational explanations for them. But now, strange, controversial artifacts have appeared that paint a different picture of Mexico's ancient past. Controversial because the images on these artifacts suggest something that most historians and archaeologists refuse to believe.
Coldies can shorten your cold by 42%. might not make your first date 42% better.
And love is my one baby too.
Guarantee. Colby's Plus Defense Chewable Gels help promote immune health. Buy now and be prepared for the season.
Chase down a brand new adventure. Step up, step out and into it.
Robotics would be nice with
No time for stalling. The wild is calling. You risk it all.
Downtown LA?
No.
Oh, lottery. I don't have any lottery luck.
Brittany looks, I don't know whatever happened to her, but she got ugly. Look at her.
She's just getting old.
Yeah, but she did not age well. Baby shark do 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 do. Mommy shark do 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 do. I don't understand why so many people are dying in Italy. It's like 10% of the people die.
Yeah.
Not in China though. Like 4% in China. The United States, we're doing really good. We're not even at a 1%. South Korea, whew, man, you guys did so good. You jumped up, but then you just went. Bleep. Now with my one baby too. It's alright. Where'd you go, blew up? Spain, wow. Now if I want, baby, do.
Tonight, on the curse of Oak Island. Well, we get the largest can possible.
So it's a little bit bigger this year.
Yeah, much bigger. Wow. The cores show high lead mercury at the base. The eye was excavated to extract clay. We have two anomalies here. It's like treasure chest anomaly. We got 5 different experts saying this is man-made.
Wow. We're gonna start slamming the can.
Slam a day. There we go. Does this one come with a guarantee?
Oh, 100% treasure guarantee. Yep.
Okay. There is an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years. So far, they have found a stone slab with strange symbols carved into it, mysterious fragments of human bone, and a lead cross, whose origin may stretch back to the days of the Knights Templar. To date, 6 men have died trying to solve the mystery. And, according to legend, 1 more will have to die before the treasure can be found. Trucks are on their way, guys. Good? As a new day begins on Oak Island for brothers Rick and Marty Lagina and their team, they are about to begin their most ambitious and expensive operation yet, in the hopes of finally locating the fabled Money Pit treasure shaft and solving a 225-year-old mystery. There's Jan. Oh, hi.
Hey guys.
Hello, Vanessa and team.
Hey
How are
guys.
ya? Today, the team from Irving Equipment Limited, along with Rock Equipment, are delivering a number of massive steel caissons, each measuring 8 feet wide by 26 feet long, as well as the heavy equipment needed to drive and stack them into the earth, down to depths of more than 200 feet.
I don't know if you guys can see that. The can's a little bit bigger this year.
It's a little bit bigger. We've got a lot of washing to do.
You got a lot of washing to do.
Unlike the 60-inch wide shafts that the Oak Island team has put down in recent years, these larger caissons will allow them to excavate and search through more than twice the amount of earth or spoils or any evidence of the fabled Chapel Vault, first reported by searchers in 1897 at a depth of more than 150 feet underground. We've pushed the envelope here. The thing that has been so difficult about the Money Pit is you don't know if you miss it by a centimeter, a millimeter, or 5 feet. Well, now we've got the largest can possible to try to encompass as large an area as possible. How much can is here?
We brought up 210 feet.
That should do.
So we'll need to leave, 6 to 8 feet through the oscillator, so we'll be able to get down to 202 for you.
Do you think you'll get to 202?
We'll see. We brought up a different set of teeth, and it's placed a little bit different, and we did our starter can is a 2-inch wall, the entire thing, versus just the cutting shoe, so, And we got a lot more weight this year. So the starter can last year only weighed 30,000 pounds. This year's starter can weighs 54,000.
Wow.
That's almost twice. This project is completely different than any other project we do. But I've been pulled on this adventure, and as Rick says, I'm invested. So we were very excited to be able to come back up and have another shot to help them find and discover and get their answers. You got a location this year?
We got a pretty good target down deep, which would explain a lot. We've done a lot of research, and we really believe we located what we believe to be Money Pit. Earlier this year, Rick, Marty, Craig, and members of the team
conducted an extensive core drilling operation in the Money Pit area. This led to the discovery of numerous compelling clues.
Whoa! This is hand cut. This is cut with an axe.
That is quite remarkable.
Including axe-cut wood from a mysterious wooden structure at a depth of some 106 feet in a borehole known as FG-12. A wooden structure that, when carbon tested, proved to date back more than a century before the discovery of the original Money Pit in 1795.
We spent most of the summer getting ready, really, to dig. We haven't done a lot of true exploration till you guys arrived, so we're ready now.
So now it's time to dig.
It's time to dig.
Yeah.
While the teams from Irving Equipment Limited and Rock Equipment begin their extensive preparations at the Money Pit dig site,
Hey guys.
Rick Lagina heads over to the triangle-shaped swamp, where other members of the team, along with geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner, are continuing to investigate a mysterious formation of boulders and other stones near the northernmost point. Also known as the Eye of the Swamp, the team believes this strange area, where no vegetation seems to grow, may represent the All-Seeing Eye, a symbol whose origins date back to the ancient Egyptians. The symbol was also adopted and made secret by the order of medieval warrior monks known as the Knights Templar, as well as their descendants, the Freemasons. It is also where Oak Island theorists Chris Morford and Corian Mole believe could mark the location of a vast treasure vault.
You look a bit exasperated.
Well, this material, I'm almost, 95 to 98% certain. I think Gary's got a sample of it up there.
There's a piece here.
Do you see the organic matter?
Mm-hmm.
Here?
Yep.
We've got this organic material, then into the gray material. In a surface, it's obviously been heavily compacted. So the only way you can really get that, in my books, is to have the rock.
Come in later.
Yeah.
The theorist presented a very compelling case that stone is bang on to the theory.
We looked at some samples we took before from here. And so in the bottom of the core, we get this high mercury and high lead. The cores in it show high lead and mercury at the base and some really interesting things that speak more specifically to human activity.
High levels of mercury and found at the Eye of the Swamp?
It's not what we see in all the other environments we have. Something was going on here, but it's anomalous. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Certainly one of the most stunning aspects of the test results was that it contained a high level of mercury. Well, you take that little bit of information and you round to certainly the Baconian connection. Francis Bacon had developed a process by which documents could be preserved with mercury.
The 17th century English philosopher, politician, and scientist Sir Francis Bacon was not only a highly respected member of Queen Elizabeth's court, he was also believed to be the leader of the Rosicrucians, a secret society of intellectuals who many believe are responsible for the burial of a vast treasure on Oak Island that included a number of sacred artifacts connected to the Knights Templar, as well as volumes of ancient knowledge. In his scientific work, Novum Organum, published in 1620, Bacon detailed a method for preserving documents by placing them in sealed containers filled with mercury. Has the team actually found hard scientific evidence that supports this incredible theory?
You're correct, and this was dug. I'd like to know how deep.
Sure. If you go down to refusal, then we can see a nice space there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we go back and we lay it out and see if we see some sort of connection. But for right now, it's all about, eyes and boots.
So for me, this area was critical because it shows human activity that was significant. That's what we know right now.
So the move those rocks over there.
Yep.
This is where they excavated it. If there's any artifact, I think it'd be in here.
If we're going to find anything to tell us who and when or even what, it's going to be in this material.
We'll keep working along.
don't know what it is, but I believe that it was intentionally made.
Man-made.
Man-made.
It's about time.
Here we go.
Take it home.
As another day begins on Oak Island, and while Rick Lagina supervises the teams from Irving and Rock as they continue preparations for a large-scale dig in the Money Pit area.
Okay, guys, here we are. Ian, how are you, sir? Good to see you back on the island.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, you know.
Marty Lagina, his son Alex, and archaeologist Laird Niven, along with fellow Oak Island landowner Tom Nolan, meet once again with geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner at the triangle-shaped swamp.
This is Aaron Taylor.
Hi, Aaron. I'm
Hi,
Marty.
nice to meet you.
Joining them is Dr. Spooner's colleague, archaeologist Aaron Taylor.
Well, we're really glad you're here. We have some interesting things we've dug up in the swamp here. We're trying to make heads or tails of them. We seriously welcome your input.
Hopefully I can help in some small way.
Great. Let's go.
As a professor of archaeology at St. Mary's University in nearby Halifax, Aaron has spent nearly a decade studying historical sites in both coastal and wetland areas across Nova Scotia. Today, he has been invited to examine the mysterious stone formations that the team has recently uncovered in the area, including at the so-called Eye of the Swamp, and the massive stone-paved feature, or possible ship's wharf, unearthed earlier this year.
This is the so-called paved area. Yeah, it's a puzzling thing. What do you see here?
Can I go down a little closer?
Do whatever you want.
Some of that sediment is from back. This is the low point where you probably talked about the eye of the swamp.
So, if this was all natural, why no stumps? Why no soil? Why no nothing?
Yeah, well, it didn't arrive when the glaciers, in my opinion, when the glaciers came through here and deposited this, just because there wouldn't be such a pronounced interface between the stones
I
and
don't mind the first layer of stone. See that like this? This is fine. That's embedded. But the stones above it,
Right.
I can't figure it out. It's incredibly level. There's no stumps. There's no other place in swamp like it.
in archaeology we have an expression, when in doubt, excavate. So if we could take a section, excavate it, that would be interesting just to see the boundary of it.
Hey, Billy, how long would it take to bail that down so you can see the interface?
Just a couple minutes, doesn't take long.
Can you hop in there? Tom, what are you thinking? You and the swamp go back a long ways.
We do, Marty. I mean, we were never into it like this, finding this stuff. But you don't run into something like this in a bog. It's not natural. That's great.
Like, look at this, and you compare it to over there.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, that was perfect. Because now we see the difference between here and there.
And the till is here, right there. It's lower there, and yet it's a flat surface. And so I just don't get it.
That's not 10,000 years old.
No, it isn't.
Aaron, if you had to guess, what is it?
I don't know what it is, but I believe that it was intentionally made.
Man-made.
Man-made. So it's too level, in my opinion, to be a naturally occurring thing.
For what it's worth, I'll just tell you, we have one other spot I'd love to show you, Aaron.
Great.
So,
I'd love to see
I think we puzzled you enough with this one.
Yeah, this is fun.
Let's go look. I think something like 5 or 6 experts have looked at this, and they're all quite certain it's a man-made structure of some sort. So I have to go with that. And I'm happy that perhaps Rick is right, that the swamp has answers, that the swamp is a key to this whole thing. This is the so-called eye, which has the rocks all the way around it, and then Dr. Spooner believes was excavated, and I guess down there in the bottom, which I can't see right now, it's all nice smooth clay.
In addition to the large boulders the team has found at the so-called Eye of the Swamp, over the past few weeks, the team has made a number of equally curious discoveries in the area. such as blue clay, similar to the kind reportedly found by Daniel McGinnis and members of the Onslow Company in 1804, while excavating the original money pit. The Laginas and their team also discovered a number of tree stumps surrounding the site, which is unusual considering the fact that trees do not commonly grow in wetland environments. This evidence has given further credence to the analysis presented earlier this year by Dr. Spooner, suggesting that significant human activity took place in this area during the late 17th century, more than 100 years prior to the discovery of the money pit in 1795.
The deal here was when we cored it, we got a nice record of sediment that we know goes back about 300 years. Underneath that we had clay, and that clay that was disturbed had wood in it. We dated that 1680. So where I'm going with this now is I think the eye was excavated to extract clay. It was a clay mine. That's what I believe it was.
If they're mining clay here, and there's a substantial amount of clay here, and you got to remember this clay would have weighed a lot.
Right.
How would they get the clay out of here? So what I'm thinking is, if that was intentionally leveled, in which we believe it is, why would they do it? They probably leveled it so that they could get horse and carts in here. So I can see them putting it in barrels and taking it out.
If Dr. Spooner and Aaron Taylor's theories are correct, the team might be able to find a direct link between the blue clay found in the swamps and that used in the construction of the original money pit. If so, they might be able to determine not only a date when the treasure shaft was originally built, but also the identities of those who constructed it.
This concept of Dr. Spooner and Professor Taylor, that the eye was used as a clay mine, that's interesting stuff. You couple that with the paved area being man-made, that to me would indicate that there was significant industrial-like activity on the island long before we thought anything should have happened here. So the intrigue of the mystery has actually intensified.
I think it's man-made.
Okay.
I think here, I agree with Ian that right here they were mining clay.
Okay.
And there's quite possible connection to the leveling area in this area. This is probably the most complex site I've ever been to. I don't know. The mystery.
All right, well, let's all let that rattle around in our brains for a while, and maybe we can come up with something.
As usual, we've got more questions than answers, but, you know, you're certainly verified that it looks like somebody did something in here, so I don't know.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Spooner. Let's go.
Following the day's activities in the swamp.
Hey, guys. Hey, guys.
There they are.
Marty and Alex head to the Mug and Anchor pub in nearby Mahone Bay to share their findings with Rick Lagina and other members of the team.
Just a real brief preamble, and then I'm going to turn it over to Alex. We met with yet another archaeologist. His name is Aaron Taylor, and we're going to check out the man-made question in the swamp and tell him what happened, Alex.
I mean, we basically just took him through the landmarks. First, we took him to the paved area, and we also took him to the eye of the swamp, and he thinks, actually, having seen the clay that's around there and having thought about it a while, he speculated that it could have actually been a clay mine. And he said in conjunction with the paved area, it does make sense that if you're mining something like clay, which is very heavy, you're going to need a place to get it out of the swamp.
Of all the clays I've seen on Oak Island, that was the most pure.
But clay is extremely useful. I mean, you make vessels out of it too, right? I mean, pottery.
It was probably used for some works on Oak Island, whether it was searcher or depositor.
You know, when experts say 100%, I perk up. If you go to the paved area, we got 5 different experts from 4 different disciplines saying this is man-made. It could be 2 distinctly different things going on. The money pit treasure story and the swamp story. So, I hate to say this, and I know you probably won't even raise your glass, but...
May not.
I'll say just by 3 words. To the swamp. To the swamp. We'll drink to that.
Coming up.
It looks like we kind of hit the paved area. The water's running in from that layer.
Everything I see is not consistent. This is a lot of material.
One day after new information was revealed to the team, that could connect man-made activity in the swamp to the construction of the money pit.
Look at the size of that spirit we'll grab quick. I know. That's huge.
Rick Lagina, Oak Island historian Doug Kroll, and surveyor Steve Guptill joined Vanessa Lucido and Mike Jardine at the money pit area, at the drill site that the team has dubbed OC1.
So you really did bring the big equipment.
Hey, you said let's go bigger this year.
I think that was my brother. He said go big or go home. That's what he said. Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Vanessa, good to see you again.
Good morning.
How are we on schedule? Is it real key?
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be putting the can in the ground.
As the team from Irving Equipment Limited finishes building a massive frame bridge around the OC1 dig site, a 60-ton rotating oscillator arrives on the island. Custom built in South Korea, it will be used to drill the massive 8-foot wide casing that hits the ground at the money pit area in search of the original Oak Island treasure vault.
Well, it's an exciting day today because the oscillator is coming to the island. Up till now, the historical research, all the analytics, all the data acquisition has given us a spot. But the spot doesn't mean anything if we can't get underground. That oscillator is going to do the trick.
All right, well, it looks like equipment's getting here. The oscillator's just pulling up. So it's a little bit bigger this year.
Yeah, much bigger, yeah.
Yeah?
How heavy?
110,000 pounds.
And the other one was?
64,000 pounds.
Wow.
This is almost double.
But it's no different, right, than the other one you brought.
So it is, but this is a crane mount oscillator, so it's going to attach right to the crane.
As the oscillator drives the sections of steel caissons down to depths of some 200 feet, a 26-ton hammer grab tool will be used to excavate the tons of earth, as well as any objects, artifacts, and hopefully treasure contained inside.
Does this one come with a guarantee? Like, we are going to find something?
Oh, 100% treasure guarantee. Yep. Yeah, I stamped that right on the side.
Okay. Everybody heard that. Everybody heard that.
You want to start unchaining it?
Yeah, let's go, boys.
Do it.
We're going to clear this area so we can fly the oscillator over, and we're going to start slamming the can.
Okay. Let's make this happen. Let's find this thing.
As the team works to position the massive oscillator using a 220-ton crane. Later that day, Rick joins Jack Begley, metal detection expert Gary Drayton, and heavy equipment operator Billy Gerhardt at the swamp. In light of the new evidence connecting the paved area to the eye of the swamp, Rick is eager to attempt to uncover and explore more of the massive stone-paved feature to see just how big it might be, and also if any important clues as to its true origin can be discovered.
We're barely down to the paved area right now.
There should be out to that depth, I think.
I don't think so. We're way down over there. We're close, but we're not there yet. Nothing, Gary? No, nothing yet.
Well, water's rushing in quite fast from over there. From right under here.
Yeah, I see that right there.
Although the team has spent thousands of hours draining and drying the swamp, it is believed that the area is littered with everything from underground springs to the flood tunnels that were constructed to booby-trap the money pit.
It's coming in underneath us, too. As you can see along the edges, it's bubbling up.
You wouldn't think you'd get a water flow that shallow.
Of that volume, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen that much water flowing in the swamp so far.
Yeah. But what does it mean?
Like you can see the rocks where the water is shooting in on this side? Yep. It looks like we kind of hit the paved area. You see the layer of rocks that the water's running in?
A layer of rocks? Could Rick and the team have found another section of the paved stone structure?
Billy, you noticed the rocks, and now, since you've covered this side more, you can see the water's running in from that layer. I think it could be the proper depth for the paved area. But if It's filling in so fast with water, I haven't been able to get a good view of it again.
It's very simple, right? You pile rocks and water will flow through, certainly. Was it a way to conduct water from one area to another? It's possible. It'd be great if it were a French drain or part of the flood tunnel system, but as of yet, we have not been able to ascertain its purpose.
It'd be interesting if we could get a water sample from the different sources. I mean, that one appears to be coming from that direction. Could it be the sea or not?
They're both a little foamy, though.
Should tend to be salt water, potentially.
You got a bucket or you got a bottle?
I guess we can see how long it flows for, too. How long can we keep bailing this? Because if it's just the water table, it's going to stop eventually, right?
It's a little salty. Right? It's a little salty.
A little salty?
Brackish, for sure.
Of course, that easily could be just one bed going through there. We
disrupted it.
It's draining from both sides.
Yeah, but there's another one over there.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit of water.
Hey, Terry. What kind of structure do we have here?
We know there's a so-called paved area over there. You do see a rim of rock. I think we would like, certainly all of us, to come to an understanding. Is this a natural feature? Is it man-made? If it's man-made, can we associate it with something else? The paved area, maybe possibly work in a money pit? I don't know. I'm confused. Craig, what do you see?
I mean, I don't know. I agree. I think we see it come from a couple different directions, mainly because we cut it in half.
Somebody came here a long time ago, hid something extremely valuable, and then protected it by extraordinary means. What we were aware of was a flood tunnel. Maybe there were other traps. So some sort of heretofore unknown booby trap fits perfectly with the whole concept of this island. I thought it might be some sort of freshwater spring, but it's definitely salty.
It'd be interesting, now that this has been down, the couple spots that have been leaking over there, to see if they've slowed up at all. Because those have been going on for weeks.
Yep.
I wonder if we just stand down, put a pump in there, when Dr. Spooner comes, let him take a look at it.
Put a couple pumps.
Coming up.
We have two anomalies here, which potentially could be walls.
Really? There could be some kind of an outside entrance. They're not normally that big. It's like treasure chest wise.
As a new day begins on Oak Island. And while waiting for the permits needed to continue excavating the McGinnis Foundation on Lot 21.
Gentlemen, good to see you.
Oak Island historians Doug Kroll and Charles Barkhouse, along with archaeologist Laird Niven, meet with ground-penetrating radar expert Steve Watson and Don Johnston to begin what they hope will be an exciting search operation on Lot 25. The site of the home built by former American slave turned cabbage farmer Samuel Ball.
We have very little information about Samuel Ball, his house and his property, and so that's where you guys come in. Right.
Although he was born into slavery on a South Carolina plantation in 1765. At the age of 11, Samuel Ball escaped captivity and made his way north, where he would eventually earn his freedom by joining the British military during the American Revolution. After the war's end, Ball fled north to Nova Scotia, and in 1786 purchased 4 acres on Lot 25, where he established a small cabbage farm. Over the next 3 decades, Samuel Ball purchased more and more land, not only on Oak Island, but also on the mainland, so that by the time of his death in 1846, he was one of the richest and most successful landowners in Nova Scotia. So rich, in fact, that there are many who began to speculate that Ball may actually have found a portion of the Oak Island treasure. Although Samuel Ball's home fell into disrepair and was removed many years ago, the surviving foundation has been made a protected heritage site by the Canadian government, which in the past has prohibited any search activity within 200 feet. However, Laird Niven has obtained a special permit to allow a GPR scan of the site.
I mean, I'm very curious to take a look at this because Samuel Ball is the mystery man of Oak Island, as Charles describes him. And there has been this connection, perhaps, that Samuel had found something, i.e. treasure.
Enigmatic, interesting fellow. There could be secrets hidden there. If we can investigate it properly, we might find the clues we want in there.
So what's the game plan here? So what we do is we collect data across the area. Right. And then what we are able to do is take that data, knit it all together, and make a 3D model of what's going on in the ground. And we're going to try and stay within the sort of the clearing area for this grid.
Ground Penetrating Radar, or GPR, emits electromagnetic pulses into the Earth to identify any large objects, structures, or voids buried as much as 15 feet below ground.
Samuel Ball had a huge area, didn't he? Hopefully this is the beginning of our interpretation of what his land was actually like.
Who knows what he might have found here on the island? And I would think you'd tend to bring that stuff back to your home.
Anyway, we'll let you get to it. Okay, we'll get at it. Excellent, thank you.
As Steve Watson and Don Johnston begin their scan around the Fall Foundation, Rick Lagina returns to the swamp with geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner to show him the mysterious rock feature a day ago.
So what we're doing here is trying to determine the boundaries of the paved area. Right. We have a full crew of witnesses here. We were digging the shaft because Fred was never forthcoming in terms of what his aspirations here, what his goals were. Right. So the idea was just to dig below that, see what might be there. But then we noticed a rock feature there.
So initially you saw a lot of water, but then it exposed itself to a deeper, looked like deeper paved area.
Like multiple rocks?
Yeah, stacking of rocks.
Yeah, well, I'd really like to see this.
We can show that to you, Bill. Why don't you start at mailing and we'll take a look.
Yep.
We've not revealed the paved area in its entirety, but at this point we're all surprised. Think about it, 225 years, here in the swamp, the most enigmatic place on the entire island, the structure was not known until just lately. And yet it's highly suggestive of the fact that it holds clues or information.
Did they say think it's that way?
No, it's all this way, all the way around like that. It stops about here, right?
Can you see that, how it's bubbling up?
Yep.
But as we get down to it, you'll see it. The water starts coming in at such a fast rate.
If this paved area continued here, he hit it. The water would have because it's open work. There's rock on rock. It's just would be like a natural aquifer.
Yeah, it was uncontrollable.
Yeah. Like I can see, look at it coming in right over there.
Yes. We're just beginning to see the top of the rock.
It's not what we see anywhere else out here except the paved area. See the sticks in the rocks? That to me looks very, very similar. I would say it's the same.
That is what? The paved area?
Yeah.
There is a direct connection to the paved area, but it still doesn't answer the question as to the why of things. And it rounds back to the who, why, and how of it. Something happened here.
The paved area has gone way up in terms of interest.
I just want to say thank you for coming out. I mean, just like that is a puzzle, this is even a bigger puzzle because we had no expectation that this were here.
Right. It's getting to be a real conundrum.
Absolutely.
Coming up.
If we can just find that one thing, a little piece of gold.
It's down there, Jack. We haven't found it yet, that's all.
Yeah, well, with the size of these cans, we'll find whatever's down there.
It's exciting. Okay, now go down. Go down. Now go back.
While Rick Lagina and Dr. Ian Spooner continue their investigation in the Oak Island swamp.
So I'm pretty excited to see what they come up with in this area.
archaeologist Laird Niven, along with Oak Island historians Doug Kroll and Charles Barkhouse, continue to oversee the GPR scan at the site of Samuel Ball's 18th century home.
Huh?
So this is a part of what we're talking about. We have two anomalies here. Potentially could be walls.
Was it built by Samuel Ball himself for some reason? Or could it be something he found and covered up in order to keep it a secret?
There could be some kind of an outside entrance. Yeah. Wow. It's approximately almost like 6 feet. Wow. Yeah. That's great. Exactly what we're looking for. That allows you to get things in there and larger items, obviously, to be putting in there, right? Yeah. And if it's 6 feet wide, that's a big entrance too. They're not normally that big. It's like treasure chest wide. Yeah. You know, I had my suspicions, but to prove it, I'd have to excavate. It's that kind of data that we take back and say, we'd like to excavate here because we see this anomaly and it may be this, right? Yeah. But now we're going to extend the grid to the east. I'm excited. All right. We'll let you get back to it. We'll get at it. Excellent. Thank you.
According to Steve Watson, the GPR expert, there's something there. Something that looks like it could be a wall. I'm keenly interested in it. I'm excited about it because whether they have anything to do with the money pit or not, that's interesting stuff. So we're all on about wanting to see what that's about.
Well, that's it for today, Graham. Well done. We're wrapping up. Excellent. Excellent. So we've got the full grid that we've just completed in the treat area. Yeah. And we have an anomaly in this area that's 1.5 feet deep. That darker orange. Yes. Red, the orange is where the anomaly is. Yes. And blue is our consistent ground. So the little orange spots, they could be something. They could turn into something. Yes. Yeah. So this, again, a preliminary process. This is just very quick that the system does, but it gives us some ideas. No, that's great. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this whole process, about everything you guys have done. Yeah, I think we have enough data right now to start a new application for a new permit to do some test excavations in here. Excellent. Well, that's very good.
With any luck, the team may be one permit away from having the opportunity to uncover key answers that could help solve the Oak Island mystery. Unfortunately, they must now be patient while Laird Niven files the proper request, which may take several weeks to be granted, if at all.
Now we have an anomaly worthy of investigation. So it would certainly be the connective tissue to this long-held belief by a lot of people that Samuel found something related to the treasure.
Thanks, guys. Okay. Appreciate it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's all coming together.
This is the start of it. Yeah. It's exciting. I mean, my hope is that after all the hard work over 225 years, that there really is something to this story, this mystery. That there really is something to retrieve at great depth in the money pit.
And hopefully it pays off, Rick.
Everybody's here.
If we can just find that one thing, a little piece of gold is going to at least be big enough to start to prove that something's hidden somewhere down deep in the money pit area. It's got to be.
It's down there, Jack. We haven't found it yet, that's all.
Yeah, well, with the size of these cans, we'll find whatever's down there.
The day that brothers Rick and Marty Lagina, along with their team, have worked and waited for has finally arrived.
Oh, now look at that. That's a really old pit.
After a summer filled with amazing discoveries, from ancient tunneling tools dating back as early as the 15th century.
Wow.
To lead artifacts whose origins, much like the medieval cross, may connect to the Knights Templar. And absolute proof that the swamp was man-made as much as 8 centuries ago. The Oak Island team is now more hopeful than ever that they could make an equally incredible and historic find in borehole OC1.
So, we're ready to go.
I'm only going to say a few words, and that is that, you know, I want to thank everybody for all the hard work this year. I think it would be appropriate, and I hope everyone would agree, that I think David and Dan should do the honors. Hit the button.
Yeah, you ready, bud? Of course, I'm always ready.
I just thought it was very
Baby,
too.
It's
Have
good.
David Blankenship and Dan Hensky initiate the process because they now are the two titans of Oak Island. David working with his father all those years, and Dan Hensky having what I always say lived, breathed, and bled Oak Island for most of his adult life. I think it's apropos.
You guys have been here longer than the rest of us put together. What are you here, 50, 40-some years?
Yeah, 40-some odd, yeah.
Dan? How many years?
About 47 years actively.
I think between all of us, we're pushing 150 years of interest in this mystery, and it's about time, right? Not only for ourselves, but...
No, it is past time.
It is past time. Well said, Dave. Everybody's thinking good thoughts. Let's do this.
Let's do it. And make a wish before you press the button.
Exactly, both of you.
Oh boy.
All right, Dan, why don't you do the duty?
Okay.
Can I turn that on for us?
Okay, here we go.
Did you eat?
Oh.
Pepper. Pepper. Were you waiting for me to come up?
No, I was waiting. I was going to do it after this.
Thinking of your dad right now?
Yeah, well, he pushed the black here.
He did.
I'm gonna eat.
I truly believe, Dan, there's something down there. I really do. It's about time that I get to it.
As the massive steel caissons advance deeper into the earth at the Money Pit dig site, the anticipation for a historic breakthrough discovery has never been greater for brothers Rick and Monty Medina and their Oak Island team. It is a sense that creates stronger by the bonds they share, not only with one another, but also with the generations of men and women who came before them. Especially those who gave their lives attempting to reveal the island's secrets. But if Rick, Marty, and the team can finally reach what's at the bottom of the legendary Money Pit, just what will be revealed? Priceless artifacts of an ancient culture? Sacred religious treasures? One thing seems certain. Whatever it is will likely change history as we know it. Next time on The Curse of Oak Island.
This is the Money Pit area. Oh, all right. So we have a chance at the treasure. We're on the right spot. I can't wait to see what comes out of that. That's ball. It's big. It's probably a human ball. It's the bottom of a barrel.
The barrel will be doing down there.
That's the component of the original trigger pad.
Oh my gosh! It's a ring! This is a ring, mate!
It appears to have been chiseled prior to 1730s, possibly Spanish.
We're back in business! Please!
It's alright. I'm in love with my one baby too. Nookie, why do you have that refrigerator? Okay. Ooh, egg breaker. Call her the egg breaker. She's the egg breaker. The egg. Ooh, egg breaker. You're the egg breaker. you got little baby egg. Go with my one baby too.
Say it's all gone, I'm sorry.
It's all gone. And in love with my one baby too.
No, it's over.
Take a bite out of Bora for you, man.
Alright, yes, fine. Is it hot?
It's alright, 'cause I'm saved by the picklehead. We call you the picklehead, the picklehead. Everybody knows you're the picklehead, picklehead. Come on, guys. Get in the house. Get out of the car now. You're about 18? Beijing leading doctor warns of a new coronavirus outbreak in China. No! That means less summer! No! What? Yay! Yay! Summer camp! What about swimming practice? Oh, that's what it was. Me, I don't care about swimming. Are we playing seriously? You guys don't have that much time. The race supposed to be here in 5 minutes to 1 hour. No, we're playing on the game that I played yesterday. No, also, I'm Red Child. No, I'm not. Can we come out after she's done with soccer? Okay, guys. Get away from my box! Get you in the box! I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get my box. What do you do in the box? It's a hat! Close my door! Don't lock it.
Huh?
There goes the card. Put it back where it was, please.
Huh?
Grocery cart out in front of the house. That's a fucking good car.
Hello and welcome back to TST. If you are new to the channel, tap on the subscription button and press the notification bell so you can receive news and updates that you can rely on daily. Due to a temporary lockdown on pretty much everything for the emergency situation, we're currently unable to report news from our studio, and instead, we're reporting the channel remotely from home. Well, stay tuned and keep watching.
Pelosi snaps at CNN's Dana Bash for asking about Trump's plans to put America back to work. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi snapped at CNN's Dana Bash Tuesday afternoon when the host brought up Trump's recent remarks, suggesting bringing Americans out of quarantine and back to work. I don't have time to follow people's tweets, Twitters, whatever tweets, so don't expect me to comment on that, Pelosi said. Well, even beyond Twitter, the President of the United States is signaling that he could open it up, Bash said. What is your opinion of that? Bash said, pressing Pelosi. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, Pelosi said as CNN's Dana Bash brought up Trump's plans to open America back up for business soon. Take a watch.
What is the President of the United States is signaling that he could open it up? What is your opinion on that?
My opinion is that it is not scientific based. He's notion mongering as he does almost every day. So rather than waste any time on commenting on the president, I would rather spend our time focusing on the fact that any president or anybody with responsibility should be scientifically inclined, evidence-based, data. What is going to make the difference? I think the cure is the biggest message of hope that is out there. We have the best minds in the country, 24/7, all hands on deck, trying to find a path here. And that is what will be the light at the end of the tunnel. What the president is suggesting is that light at the end of the tunnel could be a train coming at us if people are out and about in a way that spreads the disease further. But I'm not here to pick a fight with the president. We're here to get a job done with this legislation. I don't want to waste any energy on his tweets. I mean, I think that if you listen to the scientists, if you listened in the beginning, I think it's the gravity of the problem instead of minimizing it. If he hadn't fired the people at NASA, well, you know, there's so many what ifs. Let's save that for later. Right now, we have to focus on getting the job done for the American people. And with all due respect to the fact that he's the President of the United States, and I respect the office he holds, I'm too busy to be bothered about his tweets.
Of course, Pelosi doesn't care about Americans going back to work. She wants America shut down while she holds the country hostage and tries to shove her socialist wish list through Congress.
President, this is a time of extraordinary crisis for our nation. In this time of crisis, I call upon each of our colleagues on both sides of the aisle to rise above. Rise above petty partisanship. Rise above the bickering that so often consumes Washington. Rise above and put first the priorities of the millions of Americans who are hurting. If there is a time for political disagreements, there's a time for policy disagreements. I am no stranger to robust political and policy disagreements. But we are in the midst of a global pandemic. People are dying. People are suffering. Last night, when this Senate voted on whether to move forward with emergency relief legislation for the millions of people being devastated by the economic disaster we're seeing as a result of the coronavirus epidemic, every single Democrat in this body voted to block consideration of this bill. Now, for those of you at home who are not poring over a Senate procedural matter, what does it mean to vote to block consideration? It doesn't mean they voted against the bill. It means they voted against even starting to take it up. The New York Times headline, moments afterwards, said, Democrats block $1.7 trillion stimulus bill. Of course, that headline had the fault of being accurate. And so within minutes, the New York Times changed it. The Democrats block $1.7 trillion stimulus bill, citing worker concerns. That was headline number 2. But then apparently the partisan leanings in the New York Times were too strong for that. And so they revised it a third time to say partisan division halts discussion of the bill. No, it wasn't partisan division. It was one party, the Democratic Party, saying to this chamber and the American people, hell no. We won't even take this up and discuss it. At a time of crisis, at a time when
I guess the Redskins have said it, that they're interested in Tua potentially. They're interested in Tua Tagovailoa because they know that the Dolphins want him, that maybe the Detroit Lions want him, maybe another team will want Tua, and they will trade with them to get that second pick. Now, does anybody believe that the Redskins actually want Tua? No. But will somebody be like, damn, we have to trade with him, though, to get Tua because we don't want to lose him? And everybody was confused on why Tua was being talked about as potentially being the second overall pick whenever the guy had a hip injury that caused surgery that was very similar to the Bo Jackson injury, which ended his incredibly athletic career. And then everybody's saying he's